I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I accepted a dare. I have to explain the situation of today's company without using any words. The company's called Easton Pharmaceuticals, a pink sheet stock in the cannabis industry. It's seen a lot of action lately. Fortunately, there's a perfect way to explain everything without saying one word. Now that we have this out of the way, I can go in depth. Easton is pumped by promoter outfit Blue Horseshoe Stocks, who apparently did a similar promotion for the company back in January. The uncompensated pump seems to be working quite well as Easton has shot up the charts, which is definitely surprising considering its financial health. Their latest quarterly report shows the following: $670,000 in current assets, of which $580,000 are in cash, set against $500,000 in current liabilities, and a quarterly net loss of $68,000. An important thing to note here is that the company hasn't recorded any revenues at all. The picture isn't perfect, but it isn't awful either. The problem is there are tons of other issues with the report. For example, digging around it, you can see some alarming statements. One such is that Easton does not own any plants or equipment, which practically means the company won't be experiencing much growth anytime soon. The lack of anything positive to note is supported by the latest press releases from the company. Many people on investor forums call them fluff PRs, and perhaps rightly so. Look at this. Easton is near final agreement with a medical marijuana technology company. In the language of corporations and media, this usually means nothing. They said absolutely nothing. They didn't say the name of the company, and more importantly, near final agreement doesn't mean they made a deal. It means negotiations. Time and time again, we've seen companies say that they're near obtaining a license or finalizing a deal, and then we never hear on the subject again. If you just pause the video and take a look at every inconclusive thing in the press release and count only the stated facts, you would quickly end up with a paragraph or two at most. The release was from the 25th of June. Since then, there's been another one, and the story is the same. Almost nothing factual in this one as well. Why would a company bother to make such headlines, you may ask? Well, the truth may be a bit dark. The headlines may be just to inflate the price. There are people on investor firms who believe Easton is a big scam. The user here claims 380 million shares were dumped and believes that the company will soon be suspended. What shares is another relevant question. It appears Easton is quite fond of issuing stock and selling it on a cheap price. In the 3 months ended September 2013, Easton issued 84 million shares for $170,000, or .002 per share. For the next quarter, it issued 230 million shares for about $350,000. That's .001 per share. For quarter one this year, it printed 140 million shares for $440,000, which follows that pattern at .003 cents per share. To put things in perspective, if you bought shares for $5,000 a week ago and then sold them at the current price, you'd end up with $10,000. If you sold $5,000 worth of those .001 shares, you'd finish the session about $130,000 richer, and that's if you just sold a tiny bit of those shares, which the people holding them probably won't do. They'd want to sell everything, and when such amounts, hundreds of millions of shares, impact the market, investors almost always end up like this. A worrying side note is that according to the quarter one report, Easton has 500 million authorized shares. On the website of Wyoming's Secretary of State, you can see a different number. Easton is allowed to issue up to 1 billion shares now. The problem is that the change was never made public. Is it important? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I'd definitely pay attention if I were you.
I have a small amount of money to invest and I want to gamble in the market. I'm looking for a penny stock that'll go up and turn it into $100,000 or $1 million.